visuals as well.
Whilst you were receiving the calls, I was then going through some of the videos. You see, I mean, I listened on radio, didn't have the benefits of the visuals. But as you were receiving the calls, I was now watching some of them. I'm like,
all of this happened.
All of this happened.
Yeah, it did.
And one of the callers said, it's as media, it's our duty to educate. And I don't know whether he was seeking to make the point that we're not educating enough, or we're not highlighting the reason behind which or upon which the minority
I think we did that.
acted. We did that. I say, even if we didn't, there are two things we said. I mean, you have your right to exercise, but that should not be so disruptive and so chaotic. And you see, the skies are not falling. I mean, somebody's election has been invalidated. This is not the first time. It's happened before. So let's talk about, if it's about a law that is not working, or a procedure that is not working, or the how easy it is for a political class to manipulate the law or the system. If those are the conversations we want to have, let's have them. But to say that you want to be so chaotic and disruptive because you want to exercise your right, I don't think it's a given anyway. I don't think so. So I mean, it is. Let's all watch the videos, and you will see. Some were even throwing blows.
It was a missile. I think I saw one of the MP throw something in the direction of the speaker.
The speaker, yes,
as well. And I mean,
and you realize that for her to get out of the place.
Yeah.
Speaker Bagbin had to take over. You see, and I'm thinking maybe Speaker thought that he was the one to come and restore order to his house. He is the Speaker in any case. So
he stood on his feet a number of times.
And that means a lot in parliamentary practice.
Yeah.
For a Speaker to rise to his feet in an effort to bring order to the house, it means a lot. And I'm not the one to educate MPs on these things. They know far more than I do on these standards, and so I mean, these are not things that we should even be forgiving or be assigning reasoning to. No, you cannot do the things you did. And like I made the point earlier, whilst you were there misbehaving, business was going on. Business was going on.
I think that was the shock. I wouldn't say shock. That was a surprise for the man, because as much as there was a lot of disruption, the majority found a way
to carry on,
continue to do business, and that's what resulted in the moving to the center, and then subsequently some of the actions you saw in the video.
Yes.
And what have you. In the going forward, which is where I want us to take this now, where do we go from here? Because by all intents and purposes, the laid down rules in terms of order, how parliamentary business should be conducted, no two persons can be on their feet at the same time, according respect to each other in the discharge of parliamentary business and all of that was flagrantly abused yesterday. What happens in an instance like this? And I'm not going to be here and say, if this was an ordinary Ghanaian. No. An ordinary Ghanaian is not going to be in parliament. There are rules which guide the business of the house. Is it the case that young people can, because a lot of what was happening yesterday, even if you went to school, you would have closed. Unless your lecture, you're having a lecture and your lecture starts at 5 p.m., you're a matured student, what have you. But for the main universities, well, some of them, first degrees, you most likely could have some having lectures. For young people in particular, who are the target of what I'm about to say, a lot of them will be home. They would have turned on their TVs, and a lot of the stations actually went to Parliament because of what was happening. They turn on their televisions, and they see their members of Parliament
misbehaving.
in the manner in which they were doing. And these videos do not do justice. Kunzo, these videos do not do justice to the final moments where we're talking about. When they moved from their seats from initially disrupting and banging tables to
to the extent that the Parliament security had to come in. I saw a number of faces of the security of Parliament. You see, this he had to go to the protection of the speaker. This is
because something was thrown at the speaker. I was thrown to the speaker's direction. A pile of papers and what have you.
This is not a General Assembly of the University of Ghana SRC. No. Or nooks.
I will even disagree with you if you say it's not because even there we are not expecting.
Even there, this will not happen. This is not a nooks Congress.
It must not happen there. Congress. It must not happen there.
I mean, this is the legislature of Ghana, and see, you see the human barricade they had to form. You see, those are security of Parliament.
Go on to Facebook and
you see the tall man in the ducks. If you are a journalist at Parliament, you know him. He's always there. He's part of the security of Parliament. I mean, this is unacceptable. And you want to tell me that is because you have a right? So we have rights. We should descend into chaos. You know the number of people who have problems at the courts. They disagree with judgments of the courts. So that means what? They should go riot in their communities. No. We simply cannot justify this. We can't justify this. The last time I watched, see the person with a squeezed face, the one holding the... Unfortunately, they are wearing nose masks, so we can't even mention their names. We don't know who they are. You see how they are pushing. If you can go to our stream...
At some point, the majority members from the backbench also came and were seeking to push back their minority counterparts. And that's where you saw that video...
And these are people's fathers.
...of the Nshaiso MP in some confrontation with someone.
You see.
He does that and then he hacks him.
He was about to throw the blow that he realized, oh no, this is my friend.
And then he hacks him.
Then he smiles and hacks him. And he goes back to his serious looking face. And I mean, this is... No. We are not exaggerating it. You can go to our Facebook stream or the YouTube stream. See him. He is not in a mask, so we can easily mention his name. The Honorable Sticker Helen's friend. He's been restrained by the Honorable Issa Sagnerigu. Sagnerigu has always contributed to our parliament. Every MP they bring is very prominent. You see, but for that restraint from the MP for Sagnerigu, he was dashing forward to hit somebody. I mean, this one, the one with the nose mask and the bald head. Is this Sakura or is actually bald?
Yeah, I see him.
And the whip is pacing up and down. So that's Tolong MP, my good friend. And that's his deputy, Jerry. And you see, I mentioned Nitiwul earlier. You see Nitiwul there? So Nitiwul is one of the people who know what exactly they should do to deal with an uncooperating majority side. And this is not one of the options. So to the point that they had to form a barricade around the minority side. Somebody is still jumping across to slap another person. I mean, how? No, not at all.
So, back to and like I said, you can go onto Facebook and YouTube and you catch some of the videos. I think we lose sight of the effect of actions like this on the general populace, right? Because people decide to take the law into their own hands. And when we saw the event of the vetting committee play out in the manner in which it did, subsequently there were young people who besieged a number of areas, and the police sought to intervene and deal with the situation and coil it. The refrain was, even our MPs, we saw them in Parliament doing this and that. Who went after them? So you can't come after us too. You know, there is that aspect of the entire conversation.
If you like,
before we even go into young people watching.
Okay, Kunzo is doing exactly what I was going to talk about to say we should do. Kunzo, thank you. So this is from the vetting. This is from the vetting. Kunzo, you can also look for the Bagbing election.
That's in the 8th Parliament.
Yes, in the 8th Parliament.
2020. The dawn of 2020.
January.
The dawn of January 7, 2020.
Go and check. Let's see if we can get footages of that incident as well. And you see that it's the same thing. Our parliament cannot be this loose.
It's been on a downward trajectory in terms of discipline.
Our parliament cannot go in. And you see, at the committee level, they had to bring in uniformed police. And this is from the Parliamentary Protection Unit. Yes. So here too, clearly we see in the picture, Gusheo MP, former NPA boss, Hassan Tampuli. We see Ahmed Jerry, Deputy Whip. We see... it's not clear. Arnaud Dompre. Yes, a bit blurred. Arnaud Dompre is also pictured here. We see who again. So the policemen had to now begin to protect the furniture and the fixtures. You see, holding the tables down and the microphones and all of that. So this is no. Then the majority leader comes in. This footage is still about the vetting. What happened at the vetting? Yes. So majority leader has come in, trying to tell them to relax. See, I pity this member of parliament. I really don't know his name.
The one in the brown.
And
jacket.
Then you find the Honorable Dafia Makwa also there. Whip of the majority side. So he was trying to push down the table. They were trying to lift it, or raise it and throw it, I don't know. And he was trying to push it down and restrain, telling the people to calm down. He's pushing them back. He's talking to Hassan Tampuli. So this is exactly what we saw replayed yesterday. If I should no, well, it's the same magnitude.
Yeah, it falls within the same category of indiscipline.
That, tables were not broken.
In 2020 or in early part of this year, my description would have been indiscipline was creeping into the House of Parliament. And now it is with them. It
has crept in.
No, it is not. It has not crept in. It exists. It is a part of what's happening.
It's part of parliamentary practice now. That's sad.
Because sad. I mean, how else
we shouldn't be having this conversation about Parliament. You see, because the manner and way in which Parliament was revered in the past, you would be scared that, they'll haul you before the Privileges Committee, they will call you to come and answer, they will do this. You see, but now everybody is having a go at Parliament because there's too much indiscipline in Parliament. And people have sought to suggest that because we saw no punishment dished out in this particular matter, that is why it repeated yesterday. But people were suspended.
That suspension, even they prayed for mercy and the speaker, because Roxy Nelson Dapemeko was a part of the MPs who were suspended when the speaker returned and made his ruling.
Yes, and so when the election incident happened, part of the condemnation, the reason for the condemnation, a lot of us said that we gave fertile room to the military and the police at the time to misbehave in the sense that they could have made any announcement and all of us would have been hot at that point. Because at that point, we didn't have a president. So if they went on to say, hey, all of you sit down, you are now under our control, what would have happened? And so Parliament should not be the place for these things to be happening. No. In times past, they would just simply march to GBC, go and take over the studios and make an announcement, and that's it. I think even today, till date, if you drive through GBC, you'll find the barricades that they have, the sacks of sand that they have used to mount these barricades there, and you still find a number of military personnel around the place. I don't know whether there's a standing order for them to continue to protect the place or... So it's a lot more difficult today for somebody to go and announce on TV that...
because the TV stations
because there's plurality.
Yeah.
If you announce on GTV, nobody will hear you. I don't mean it that way, I'm sorry.
You have already said it.
That's not what I mean. If you announce on GTV, you would have been able to reach only a fraction of the population.
Yeah.
At that time, GBC was indeed the station of the nation.
It was the only station. Actually.
So you could control the information flow and all of that. Now you cannot. Because whilst GTV is on, TV3 is on. 3FM is on. So if you are there making your announcements, we have our own people that we are talking to. So that is why Parliament should not leave things to chance. In Parliament, you have all the media houses there. So if you cause chaos in Parliament and some unruly officer takes the microphone in Parliament, he is speaking directly to the nation because all the media houses are there. And I want to believe that members of Parliament understand this. And they should know that they cannot continue creating such rooms or fertile grounds in Parliament, risking all of us. This has nothing to do with NDC and NPP. That is why it is condemnable. And all of us in unison must condemn it. We cannot excuse this at all. Because I don't know if you can find the one from the 2021.
He's just giving the indication he's trying
to find that. So that let's look at the three separate incidents and see how we exposed ourselves as a nation.
And this will be reported on international platforms.
On international platforms.
I am interested in knowing what the cause of action could be, because I'm coming back to the point that, is it a case that, look, all of this happens and yes, the business of the house proceeded regardless, and so it comes to an end?
I think we should put that question to the whip when he takes the seat. The Honorable Dafiamako, when he takes his seat here. Let's put that question to him. Because I am strongly of the opinion that this cannot be excused under the cloak of an expression of your democratic rights or parliamentary rights. We cannot say this is an expression of democracy. No, this cannot be. And more, our members of parliament are opening themselves out to a lot of unruly behavior. It cannot be, and it shouldn't be excused at all. That is why I went through the pain of trying to link what can happen using the example of GBC and all of that. It's a serious security breach that Parliament itself occasions. It risks itself and the entire nation. And Parliament should know that.
This is
this is from the inception of the 8th Parliament.
7th January 2020.
Yes.
It was the dawn of the 7th of January 2020.
And you can see, if you are not on any of our streams, please you can go to YouTube or go to Facebook, and you would see. And you see that the military personnel on the floor, that they were more than the MPs. Just look at it.
The most important thing is the lessons were learned in terms of wanting to compare.
Have we learned?
No, I say lessons were learned because in this instance, we saw the military being the ones intervening. But we've subsequently seen that the marshals were the ones who came in this time around and stood their grounds and didn't allow. In this case, it was the minority, and in all the instances, it's been the minority who are now the majority, who are the ones. And this was the hung parliament situation, 137, 138.
No, say that again. In this case, it was the majority turning to. So it was the MPP side. Let me say that.
Yeah.
This was when the ballot box was snatched, and somebody chewed a paper, and somebody stole the maize. And you know what it means to steal the maize of Parliament. And these things are done by members of Parliament too. They are not outsiders. The maize of Parliament is the symbol of authority of the Speaker and of Parliament. So if you say you have stolen the maize, it means Parliament doesn't exist. So I am shocked that these things are being done by members themselves. Members themselves. It's not an outsider. It's not you or I or Abiam that they will say, oh, we don't understand what it means. We just saw some walking stick and we took it. No. There is not a single occasion that Parliament will be in session and you will not see the maize in front there. It's not a decorative piece. It's not some relic that they have. It is symbolic of something. So if you go and steal the maize, it's a serious breach. And again, nothing happened. From here, nothing happened.
In fact, the Speaker, when he spoke about this, said it should have been investigated by the 8th Parliament. It wasn't investigated by the 8th Parliament, and so that's all we can say. And it ended at that.
Maybe because there were no sanctions, we didn't see anything happen. That is why these things are recurring. Maybe because we should have learned from this. Well, I will agree with you in terms of the security. But Parliament also has a permanent police post, the Parliamentary Protection Unit. Okay, so good. So at the vetting, the incident at the vetting, you saw the uniformed police there at the committee. And they will tell you that a committee of Parliament is an extension of Parliament. So where a committee of Parliament sits, Parliament invariably is the one sitting. So I would stretch it to say that we still had an intrusion at that vetting when we saw uniformed police go in to restore order. So I will agree with you that in this third instance, we saw that the security, Parliament security itself, were the ones in charge of or trying to maintain the peace and all of that. But we cannot continue like that. And some action has to be taken. At what point will it stop? At what point? So something really has to happen. Because this is taking the people for granted. This will be the third time it is happening. Or it has happened. So, yes, something has to happen to stop it.
And it will take the Speaker as well, because I understand a lot of people who say this starts and falls with him, in terms of actions which should have been taken. Remember this vetting committee reports and everything that transpired with it. That report has yet to be laid on the floor of the House. Remember when a member of Parliament, when the member for Koliklote was speaking and screamed "daughter of a murderer," and the Speaker said the MP should own up, or we are investigating. It's been months down the line, and there hasn't been any. I've tried to refrain from siding with anybody who makes the argument that, look, this falls squarely at the feet of the Speaker in terms of enforcing discipline in the House. But try as you may want to say, oh, he's trying to accommodate, he's trying to allow for views and opinions.
Let me just take our listeners back to the
the
videos
of the
playing,
seventh.
yes, of the seventh, the inception of the 8th Parliament. You see that, I think that's the Honorable K.T. Hammond trying to, I don't know, it seems he's also rather even making way for himself. I thought he was signaling the soldiers to, or out of the chamber, and you see the dressing, they call that one tactical gear. If you see how the soldiers were dressed that night, they were not there to play. So the question I keep asking is, what would have happened? Where would we have been by now if some zealous soldier man had just gone to the speaker's microphone, not even the speaker's microphone, just grabbed the nearest microphone, hey, all of you, sit down. What would have happened?
He would have gone beyond the powers or the orders he was given, because someone gave an order and asked them to come inside.
And did the person have the authority to give that order? Even that question is a question we are here to find an answer to. Who gave the order? Based on what authority did the person give the order?
The person who could have investigated the matter
says we should let it rest.
Yes. So that is why I'm asking him.
That comes back to your point.
Yes, that's why I'm asking him. Try as you may want to say, oh, yesterday the speaker managed the situation well. When you want to go into looking into the future, because we cannot have this continue every now and then when a side believes that, oh, I don't agree with the course of action being taken, and so I'm going to disrupt parliamentary business. We cannot have it happen.
To the NDC MPs
so what is the cause of action in terms of deterrence, right? Because even for these members of parliament,
the Honorable Akando and the Honorable Esla Osu.
Yeah, that was even for these MPs who have kids of their own, they teach them discipline, they teach them deterrence, and that when something is not good, you don't do it again. I asked the question, what will be deterrence to ensure this does not happen again? What will be deterrence? I need someone to tell us what will be deterrence.
I said let's put that question to the chief whip when he takes his seat shortly, because it would have to start with an investigation. And I am a strong advocate of the school that Parliament is a master of its own rules. Parliament is a closed book. What happens in Parliament is a closed book. I do not believe that the courts should find their way or extend their powers into Parliament. I don't believe in that. I believe that Parliament should be able to, from within itself, identify its problems, find solutions to its problems, and resolve those problems without any external order or force or influence. That is the only way the independence, the autonomy, and the oversight roles of Parliament can be maintained. But if at every little stretch somebody has to run to court to order Parliament to do something or not to do something, then we have a problem with that institution. Mind you, Parliament is an equal arm of government as the legislature and as the judiciary. So why would you have the judiciary, for instance, dictating to Parliament how to conduct its business, or the executive dictating to the legislature how to conduct its business? I belong to that school of thought that says that Parliament, everything starts and ends with Parliament. And so, yes, I will agree with you that the Speaker has to take a firm and decisive action on this matter. Investigations have to happen. Recommendations have to be made. And the Speaker would have to enforce whatever recommendations would come, so that we don't see this thing play out again. It shouldn't be taken lightly at all. All of this is happening because a court has made an order invalidating the election of a member. The court had a jurisdiction to do so. The court's order was legitimate. So if you want to challenge it, what is the refrain we have? And everybody has sung that before. Go to court. You go to court, you are not satisfied with the pace at which the court is hearing the case. You want to use Parliament as a medium to force some kind of pressure. That is fair and good. You are allowed to do so, but the vehicle you use to arrive at that destination matters. You cannot bring down or rain down brimstone because of this. No. Like I said, we are all citizens of equal rights. So if one constituency does not have representation, we all should be worried. If somebody's election has been invalidated, we should all be worried. But it does not mean that you jeopardize the rest of us, our security, our development, our peace, because of that. No, it shouldn't be allowed. It should not be accepted. I don't think so.
And we're going to go into the conversation about the mace, because that was touched yesterday in all of this melee that happened on the floor of the House.
Yesterday, today stolen?
No, I don't think it was stolen. It was, to come in front of it and to disrupt proceedings in the manner in which they did. My colleague Christian Yali was in Parliament for us. He's been explaining some other matters in relation to the standing orders and what it says about the maze, and the fact that it signifies the authority and sovereignty in Parliament and holds significance in the conduct of parliamentary business. It's not permissible for members to remove the maze while sitting is ongoing, or even while sitting is suspended. The marshal who handles it ahead of the speaker during procession into the chamber or recession from chamber is the only person who touches it as and when its position needs to change. When the speaker is in the chair, the mace stands upright or perpendicular, indicating the formal proceedings in the House. However, during the consideration stage of a bill, the mace is tilted towards the chair, indicating the informal nature of the proceeding. At this stage, the rules of debate are relaxed and members can speak more than once to any question from the chair. The marshal carries the mace on his right shoulder and then places it in a special holder in front of the clerk's table, where it remains throughout sitting. No member under any circumstance can touch the mace or remove it. That will be a breach of parliamentary rules and privileges, whether the speaker is in his chair or not, whether proceedings are ongoing or suspended. And so, again, the parliamentary maze appears to have been touched amidst all of what transpired yesterday, and really, it begs the question whether or not what is deterrence, really, is a question I'm asking. What is deterrence? What stops anybody really from deciding to do this again? What stops the members of Parliament from either side from doing this again is a legitimate question, which is being asked today, and which we will continue to ask. I will continue to ask it, because if there is nothing like deterrence, what stops any of the members of Parliament from doing this again? This means that hitherto what we didn't expect can happen, should be a part of parliamentary custom, has come to stay.
No, this should go to the record of the Nsawam Mediojiri MP, the chief whip of the minority
side. I ask the question, what would the record do? No, I want to ask, what would that record do?
Well, we have to start.
Who is going to pick it someday? And
we have to start from somewhere.
There has to be deterrence to an extent, because we can't.
But you see, the deterrents are also. I don't have the standing orders here, a copy of the standing orders, so it should be easy to find out some of the punitive measures that could be taken. There was an incident. I think we're discussing disciplinary actions that could be taken by Speaker against a member of Parliament. And this thing about you losing your seat came up, and I said, no, I don't agree with it. You were not elected. You were elected by a constituency. You get here, then the Speaker says that I am...
But is that the prescribed means to...
No, there was actually something about that in the old standing orders. This is a new one. I'm not very familiar with the new standing orders. Okay, so that's why I'm being hesitant on that. Yes. But under the old standing orders, a member could actually lose his seat. The Speaker could declare the member suspension was part and ultimately losing your seat. And my argument has always been against that. That if we want or you have caused or committed an offense so serious that you would have to lose your seat, that declaration should not come from the Speaker. The Speaker probably could refer the person to the constituency, and the constituency will have a way of. But as it stands now, I don't think there's any way of recalling a member of Parliament. That's not our system. You know, in other systems, the ruling party gives, is it the Prime Minister or the President? And if the ruling party recalls you, then you lose that. But that's not our system, and maybe that's a long stretch. So yes, we will have to find a way of, instituting and instilling some discipline in Parliament. But I'm just saying that if we all know that the person who led all of this, because the minority leader was not there yesterday. He wasn't on his seat yesterday. I didn't see the deputy minority leader. So the caucus was led by the chief whip. So in the absence of the caucus leader and his deputy, the chief whip led the caucus into this chaos. We can start the conversation from there.
From there.
Yes.
Let's go for this quick break. When we return, I'm sure we'll be joined in properly by the majority chief whip, and then perhaps we'll put a number of these questions to him and get some responses. Stay with us. This is the 3FM Sunrise.
92.7 3FM. 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 92.7 3 FM. 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 93 FM. 92.7
and also member of Parliament for South Diet, and also a proud Umsu at that. That point needs to be emphasized very greatly. Is joining us in the studio this morning. Honorable, good morning to you. I trust that you're well, and it's the first time we're speaking since after December 7. Yeah, mostly on phone. I think yes. I spoke to you on Monday on phone, on TV, but in person in studio today. A difficult day was yesterday, and it's quite telling on your face the strain you, the majority, had to go through yesterday in seeing through that government business went through smoothly.
It was also my birthday.
Oh,
yeah. And
that was the birthday gift your colleagues decided to give to you yesterday.
But be as it may, these are not things that we've not seen before. But the way the minority carried themselves out yesterday was quite embarrassing. Because what are the issues? We disputed the outcome of the Kwanda elections sometime as early as 9th December 2024. And then we proceeded to challenge the declaration of the outcome of the results at the High Court, where the law says we should. We did not use huge numbers in Parliament to misconduct ourselves in the manner that they did, to make demands, to, as it were, say that if Kwanda is not resolved in our favor, then the business of Parliament can't go on. We didn't do that. We didn't pick cudgels. We didn't pick pickaxe. We didn't pick bow and arrow. We didn't pick machetes. We went to a court of law. And you have to listen to the drudgery that they took us through, the High Court. They actually initially challenged the constitutionality of the process. So on the 6th day of January, they filed a process to dismiss the petition. That failed. And so the matter was gone into. So the matters they are presently raising before the Supreme Court,
right,
via a certiorari application, had already been canvassed before the High Court in that early preliminary motion or notice to dismiss the suit. So they just dismissed it. and went into the merits of the case. We waited patiently as NDC, we waited patiently for 11 months for a verdict. And what was the verdict? The seat was not declared for us. So as we speak, I don't understand the MPP's psyche. Imagine the seat had been declared for Insala Wakbal. And you know what? We had the seat. We had a sitting member of parliament, my colleague Insala, and went into the elections. So the party that suffered the greatest of damages in this matter is the NDC. But we waited patiently for the court processes to come to an end. The court said, given the evidence adduced before him or before the court, evidence led and recanted, there's no way that the outcome of such an election should stand. So what did the court do? The court says, go and rerun the election. So he didn't declare for the NDC because as part of our relief was that if the court found that the events that happened in 41 polling stations were such that it could be pronounced in our favor, the court ought to have done that.
And the court didn't do that.
The court didn't do that. The court looked at the alternative issue that we set, which was if the infractions were such that it materially affected the entire elections, then the court had to make a pronouncement. So the court pronounced that, okay, let's run the elections afresh. Let's start from a clean slate.
Which is one of the things which has been criticized. They say it was 41 polling stations. Why bring in the remaining polling stations and call for a complete rerun of the elections?
You see, if you don't understand how courts work, you can make such pedestrian or roadside talk. Was it one of the issues set down for determination by the court or not? And you see, their lawyers too, they don't speak accurately to the matters. They don't canvass the facts. They don't speak to the matters as they pertain in court. And they leave it to their communicators to do propaganda. One of the first issues we set out, which was adopted by the court for determination, was whether or not the infractions in the 41 polling stations were such that it will affect the integrity of the entire elections in the 152 polling stations. You have to see the video. Have you seen the videos?
From the court process?
No, yes. The part of the videos.
You mean the Pandai
videos
and all of that?
No, and there are a lot of videos. I can send them to you.
Right.
Yes.
I will be glad if you did, and I'll have the production team as well share that.
Yes.
Share that with viewers who are following on Facebook and YouTube as well. But the Honourable Roxanne Nelson Dapemoko is seeking to share a bit more in terms of videos from the collation of the Pandai parliamentary elections in December of 2024, which was the basis upon which they went to court. The outcome and determination, which has become the subject of litigation, a court of appeal process, and then a Supreme Court process, resulting in the minority stance yesterday, which disrupted the House greatly. And there are lots of questions as to the disruption yesterday, what the course of action would be going forward. But I want you to just round up on that before we get into what happened yesterday and what is expected to happen, because
the disruption, you mean Parliament?
Yes,
we are seeking to raise the matter on the floor this morning, especially regarding the conduct of Reverend Tim Fojo. We have video evidence evidencing that he actually held a pile of papers or parliamentary old Hansard reports at the speaker. And that video too, I'll share with you.
I think that video we've seen excerpts of on social media, and we'll seek to share that as well.
So it's a matter we'll be raising mainly this morning. And so that's about that. Now, as a minority, if you feel strongly about a matter, you have the opportunity to raise it on the floor. You've raised it. You've held press conferences. You've actually gone ahead to get some chiefs in the area to. Somebody told me they are NPP chiefs. I don't know what that means, but you got them to speak. Another set of chiefs have also come out to say that if a court of law says the Ekpanda re-election should be the Ekpanda elections be rerun, nobody can stop it. Now back to the issues. So we went into the trial, and the court said we should do a rerun. So as a law-abiding citizen, we got the order served on the Electoral Commission as well as Parliament. After a painstaking 11 months long trial. So is the NPP saying Parliament has no duty under law in pursuance of Article 112 Clause 5, which mandates the clerk to communicate that information to the Electoral Commission? He ought not to have done that. Would have cited the clerk in contempt.
But there's a pending appeal before the Court of Appeal.
You see, I'm a trained lawyer, and I take my knowledge in the law seriously. 5 years ago, when we were before a court in a similar matter, Jachi Kwesi, when they got somebody to challenge Jachi Kwesi's election in Asin North, and before the matter could be determined on its merits, you see the difference. In the Ekpanda matter, Insala has waited patiently for 11 months to get this order of the court, directing a rerun. Not even in his favor, he said rerun. In Jachi Kwesi, before the matter will be determined on its merits, they brought an injunction. We didn't file injunction
from being sworn in.
They brought an injunction where the law had already been tried, settled, that a court does not injunct a constitutional office holder from performing his duties until a substantive court order says otherwise. So that, for instance, when a president is elected or declared elected and sworn in, you don't bring an injunction to prevent the president from working as a president, even though you must have filed an election petition challenging it. That is right. But they got a court in this country to pronounce Jachi Kwesi that he could no longer hold himself as an MP, pending the final determination of the case. Jachi Kwesi was denied access to his office in Parliament, was denied his salaries, he was denied access to his MP's common fund to work with. It happened in this country, on the floor. When this matter came to the floor, in fact, when Jachi came to the floor, I think a couple of hours after Jachi was attending court nearly every day, a couple of hours after the delivery of that ruling, we returned from court and he came. They raised the matter that he was no longer eligible to be on the floor. And so he needed to leave the chamber. They sponsored the Professor Kingsley Nyako to do that. I got up and spoke law and said, oh, this matters, yes, we agree, but you see, we have filed a notice of appeal.
Right.
And we have, that's an interlocutory appeal. And we have also filed a stay of execution of the injunctive order. And so, this being the case, I think that we should allow him. Oh, no. He said I was talking wrong law. That my law was bad.
Today, that's the same arguments being made.
Yes.
Citing
yes.
provisions in CI 19 and the Court of Appeals.
See, I will show you CI 19. That CI 19 was an interim stay, 7 days. They came to amend a substantive provision in CI 19. CI 19, 1997, as amended by CI 132, 2020. NPP government came to amend it. I was in Parliament. I participated in the consideration. They changed the law. The Court of Appeal rules now says that if you file a notice of appeal, it shall not operate as a stay of the order of the court.
Right.
Unless the court, which is the Court of Appeal, upon an application for stay, grants an order of stay of execution of that order. I didn't bring this amendment. It was MPP that brought it. Today, they don't want to suffer the consequences of their own laws that they brought to Parliament and got passed for them. So the fact that you have filed a stay or filed a notice of appeal, as a consequence of which you file a stay of application or notice for stay of execution, does not operate to stop any state entity from carrying out its functions. So it could not have stopped Parliament or the clerk to Parliament from communicating the situation to EC. What we have rather discovered is that the EC, which is actually a party to this matter, has so far refused to issue the rerun notice. And we have already lost 16 days. The court order was issued on the 24th of November.
30 days.
Yes, that it should be done in 30 days. Today is the 10th of December. We've lost 16 days. When is the EC going to rerun the commander elections? Because the Supreme Court hasn't given any order. The High Court will be hearing the stay application filed today. And you see, they have abused the processes of the courts. Let me give you examples. When the court refused the application to dismiss the action on the 6th of January 2025, they filed an interlocutory notice of appeal and filed another process to stay the proceedings of the High Court pending an interlocutory determination of the interlocutory appeal.
All of which were not subsequently heard.
All of which, look, the application for stay of proceedings was refused. And they subsequently abandoned that interlocutory notice of appeal. So the NPP, they have been, I want to be charitable. Either they have been incompetent in this matter, or I don't know what they were doing. Because they were simply filing processes after process because they were desperate. When they eventually came to the table for us to try out the matter, they fell flat. Because the kind of evidence they led was terrible. So the court says rerun the elections. And you say you won't allow an election to be rerun? So they filed first, the lawyer who tried the case for them, he filed, the judgment was delivered in the morning, 9:56.
I recall he said he carried his appeal in his pocket and filed.
So they knew they had a terrible case. However smart you know as a lawyer, when you lose a trial that lasted that long, you would have to receive, even listening to the pronouncement of the judge, go back and take your time. So you could file a notice of appeal maybe the next day or later in the afternoon.
Right.
But they had prepared their notice of appeal from home. That should tell you that they knew beforehand that the case wouldn't go their way, because it was such a terrible case. So here's what they did. So he filed a notice of appeal, file application or notice for stay of execution, then they change the lawyer. The lawyer has come. He's also filed another notice of appeal before the same court, filed another application or notice for stay of execution, and whilst that is pending, they've gone to the Supreme Court to file a judicial review application by way of certiorari. So you have all this, but you are still holding press conferences and practically insulting the courts and insulting the whole judiciary, calling the court a kangaroo court. That's not done. You've organized press conferences in the constituency. That's not done. You've come to Parliament to practically stop Parliament from working.
Which is what I want us to get into now, because that attempt to stop the House from working yesterday, you did proceed to finish all of what you were expected to do. I hear you say that Reverend Tim Fodjoy is a subject person of interest, which will be raising on the floor. But Ghanaians listening and watching this morning are asking the question, is this what is going to happen in Parliament every time? Because it's not the first. There was the disruption during the vetting process in the early part of this year, the Speaker came in. There was a committee which was tasked to do some work. We haven't seen that report laid on the floor of the House. That's one. Because I recall when the Speaker came, out of the members who were suspended, you were a part of it. And it had to take intervention from both sides to have you all return. We're yet to see the committee report laid on the floor. No action taken. We'll say, and quite easily, that you in the House are condoning all of these, and you're active players in the disruption and the abuse of Parliament's standing orders.
I don't think so. I disagree with you. If you saw my role in the earlier incident you recounted, I was trying to prevent them from.
When I say you, I don't mean you in specificity. I mean the House in general.
Okay. So the House isn't condoning. The report has been laid. It's a matter of prioritizing it to be taken. And so having hinted, in fact, you've averted my mind to it. So I believe that today at conclave, it may come up that report need to be taken. Because if we don't do that, then perhaps the public won't take Parliament quite serious, especially given what happened yesterday. So that is my response to that. Now, dealing with the substantive, I think we should be asking MPP some questions. You recall, the night we were to elect Bagmin as Speaker for the first time.
Yes. 7th January
midnight, dawn of 7th January 2020. You saw their post. Similarly, they will not allow us to vote. And after voting, they actually had to go and scramble for the ballot papers, and one of them actually swallowed some part of the ballot papers. I mean, how can a group of people continue to do this? They will not allow simple protocols and rules and order to prevail. They must have their way. And if you resist, they must fight you. Yesterday, you have come to say that the clerk had no power. And the clerk cited the constitutional provision in pursuance of which he issued a letter. Yet you won't have none of it. Because of that, Parliament must close. I mean, Parliament must close because you disagree with a decision. And when we insist that no, some business must be done, they won't have it. So they actually cross over from their side, cross the aisle, which is an abhorrence in Parliament. And they were threatening to attack us, the majority front bench.
And the curious question is, are there no causes of action within your standing orders to deal with what it is we saw yesterday?
That's why we are saying that these matters will be seriously raised this morning. We'll start sitting from midday.
Yes, 12.
And so today, I'm sure if you follow us, the matters you are raising here will receive some attention on the floor.
And Ghanaians can look forward to a bit more decorum in terms of what happens on the floor of the House, because it's been quite.
You see, we can't compel MPP to be decorous. We cannot compel them. It's conduct. If they decide to be disruptive, that is, and it's become a group habit. Look, when we're in opposition, we disagreed. The only time that we participated in a stampede was when we were electing Speaker and they wanted to have their way and we refused. So we stood our grounds and there were clashes. The second, in fact, it was the same event that brought in soldiers and we resisted them. So there was a scuffle. Apart from that, the other time that we did something close to that was the E-levy. Eventually we walked out and didn't participate in the vote. And they sat in and voted, and then we went to court. That matter is still pending. So you cannot insist that once you've made your views contrary as it is, and it doesn't receive favor with the rest of the House, you must sit in and engage in disruptive and disorderly conduct. The rules frown upon it, and that's why coming here, I brought you a code of conduct for members of Parliament. And this morning, we'll be raising all these matters using this code of conduct. Something must be done.
Would anybody be wrong to blame the Speaker for a failure in cracking the whip, resulting in what we saw yesterday? Because it's not the first.
Speaker has cracked the whip many, many times. And I believe that Speaker yesterday had to rely on his wisdom. Because you see, if you had agenda house, would have been more damning. So he allowed them to engage in this disorderly conduct for the entire world to see who a group of people who had become very disrespectful, of course, of Speaker. And what again was their case? You have spoken, you have raised an issue, you made a lot of allegations. Now, Speaker says, let me give the majority the opportunity to respond. That's how, this is the protocol in the House anyway. You say you will not allow me to speak, so they resisted me for like 30 minutes before my boss came.
Yeah.
Now, when my boss came to join, and I briefed him, I said, but we have to respond. For 4 hours, we've been in chambers, engaging Speaker. They will not allow the Honorable Mahama Yariga to set the records in the issues they raised. So, for instance, when you make allegation that Jethro had no authority to issue the letter to Electoral Commission, it can be accurate. So he wanted to set that record straight. They won't because they peddle falsehoods, they know who will expose them. So 4 hours, they won't allow Mahama Yariga to speak. Then eventually, when we were done, a Speaker says they move a motion that the House should be adjourned. We defeated them. So Speaker said, okay, then once your motion for adjournment has been defeated, we must proceed with government business. They won't have it. When my leader got up, they won't allow him to speak. So it was a classical case of a design attempt to just be disruptive and disorderly.
The president, when the outcome of the election was announced and there was that overwhelming majority, stressed that this majority which the NDC now enjoys will not be used capriciously or arbitrarily. Yeah. You will at all times seek to engage and build consensus. Yeah. One of the accusations is that you're failing to build consensus on a number of things and you're seeking to bulldoze your way through. Reason why perhaps we saw what it is we saw yesterday.
Absolute
as well.
falsehood. In fact, if you heard another prayer yesterday, he said, we have cooperated so far on a lot of government business. They've cooperated until this one. It is Pandai that is the basis of all this. If any group would have been disruptive and exhibit disorderly conduct, he ought to have been on our side. Because we had the seat. You use violence means to take it from us and got the result declared for you. And we said, well, we can't do that on the floor. We have to go to court. Because where a law provides a procedure for a right to be remedied or to be realized, it's only that procedure that will be followed. This is authority in Boyfield versus NTHC, long ago, Supreme Court decision. So the procedure provided for contesting an outcome of a parliamentary election is the High Court. And that is where we went. For 10, 11 months, we haven't had a single press conference. We've been very meticulous, attending, flying from Accra to Tamale every time court is called. We've never asked Nyindam not to carry himself out as an MP or not to have a voice. But the day the court said that election was foul and therefore amounts to a nullity and that there should be a rerun, the basis upon which Nyindam came to Parliament had collapsed. For the principle in law is that ex nihilo nihilo fits. You can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. The authority in McFoy versus UAC, Lord Denny. So I raised the matter. And I told Nyindam that, Nyindam, you are aware of the outcome, and so what? And so they decided to allow Nyindam to speak, to participate in the debate on the budget. That was when I resisted it. I believe on the 25th.
We saw that before the speaker had to come in with the ruling.
I resisted it. And they said all sorts of things, but I resisted it. And speaker said, the outcome of that decision, or the consequence of the decision of the High Court, is to the effect that there's a vacancy. But in the meantime, there's an automatic 7-day stay. So at the point I was raising the issue against Nyindam, it was premature. And that he had automatic stay from between the 24th of November to the 1st day of December. Between that time, he could come to the house because there's an automaticity of stay of the order. Subsequently, there's no automatic stay. That is why the clerk proceeded to issue the letter dated 4th December. And these are matters anchored properly in law, constitutional law for that matter. And yet they say they disagree.
Let me pick quickly your reaction to, because you mentioned that you're questioning why the Electoral Commission has failed to issue the notice. What is your expectation now that that letter went to them on the 4th? They are yet to take any course of action. Is there any course of action your side is willing to take as well? And then on this matter that you're going to raise up about the indiscipline matters, are we going to see all the 86 members of parliament, or is it 80 members of parliament who were on the floor yesterday on the other side refer to the Privileges Committee?
It wasn't all of them that attempted to cross the aisle. And it wasn't all of them that actually threw a pile of papers at the speaker.
I see that's of great concern to you, that course of action.
You could hurl a pile of paper at me, but certainly not at the speaker. As for this one, we won't have it. In such a chaotic situation, you could push me. Even if I fall, I'll get up, I'll dust whatever is on my body and take it in my stride. But to attempt, in fact, when he held the papers, it's because it was a pile of papers, it scattered in mid-air. If they were properly piled up, they would have hit the speaker. And having chance upon this evidence, we won't have it. So we will raise the issue today. Now, the other issue that you raised is that whether as a group there's a remedy for it. Yes, by all means there's a remedy. And the remedy is that if these matters are referred to the Privileges Committee, I'm sure there will be a small hearing in the matter. If I got the question correct.
Yes, as in, are you referring those who attempted to cross the aisle?
Yes. Now, regarding the Electoral Commission, there's a remedy. We have already cited them in contempt of court. We filed a contempt of court proceeding, action against them. I'm sure they are served by now, because you see, they are a party in the matter. So when you are a party in the matter and a decision is that, and the court was very clear, directed at the Electoral Commission,
30 days.
So you need no service of the court order. All you had to do is to carry out the order of the court. They were deliberate and they refused. We said no problem. We took steps to serve them with the order of the court. Again, they refused. Now, Parliament has taken further steps to inform you. Again, they have refused. So if the Electoral Commission is not supporting NPP in this matter, then I don't know what else it is. Because it's the NPP that's not interested in having a rerun. And the rerun can only be organized by the Electoral Commission. So if by the circumstantial steps or the circumstantial evidence against the Electoral Commission points to the inevitable conclusion that they are refusing to issue the rerun notice, then they are condoning. They are in connivance with the NPP to ensure that the rerun is not effected within the 30-day timeline the court issued. And we cannot disregard the court like that. We cannot.
Right.
It's the last thing we have to encourage or tolerate as a democracy. It's the last thing we have to disobedience to a court order must never be tolerated in any democracy.
Final question from me, and I'll move away, because you mentioned Privileges Committee. The Speaker referred the Minority Leader, Alexander Penyumak, into the Privileges Committee. Their side have asked that be withdrawn. On your side, are you willing to see this through to the end? Because he wasn't in Parliament yesterday. He was in the ECOWAS Parliament from what we understand as well. Isn't that continuous breach of what the resolution of the House was, and what would that mean for the pending case before the Privileges Committee?
You're right. So his continuous attendance of the ECOWAS Parliament's proceeding, it's a continuous breach, or he's aggravating his situation. That's one. That's two. The Privileges Committee, I'm sure, will look into the matter and bring a report. I have to check whether they've sat on the matter or they've started proceedings on the matter. Then three, the referral of the speaker and the subsequent call by the minority that referral be reversed is hot air. They held a press conference, and they didn't. It's not a matter they brought to Parliament. And so once they didn't
come to the floor.
It didn't come to the floor. We considered it as hot air, as pedestrian talk, as street talk. Because to call, in fact, they use certain phrases against the speaker, which is also a matter we take very high view of. Especially the deputy minority leader, Honorable Patricia Piaget, who had a press conference. The kind of language and words she used against the speaker were very unparliamentary. And that one too, we've registered our protestation at conclave, and she agrees that she went too far. And so we are on an edge in a lot of the situations. I hope we don't fall over the cliff.
Can you give Ghanaians the assurance, persons who watch, and for yesterday, a lot of what transpired, a lot of the kids would have returned from school and would have caught it because it was on almost all of the TV stations, that this will be possibly the last time we will have a conversation about Parliament in a manner like this?
I wish I could give that assurance to my people, the nation. But they also know that Parliament is not populated by the NDC alone. Parliament is populated by the MPP as well as other independent candidates who fortuitously are with us. So I believe the group to be spoken to or to be talked to is the MPP. Imagine we had used our numbers to resist the MPP yesterday. Imagine we had decided to meet them with equal force. The story this morning would have been different. That's why my leader, Mayama Ayariga, said we applied wisdom. Because we had government business to transact. If we applied force, we'll lose the opportunity to adopt reports and approve of estimates for statutory bodies and ministries for their 2026 annual activities. Would have also lost the opportunity to exhibit ourselves as leaders of the largest group and capable of maintaining order, even in the face of extreme provocation. So we applied wisdom and achieved a lot yesterday. So if the media, I believe it's the MPP that should be talking to. MPP used not to be like this. I don't know what's happening. Even their reaction to court processes and judgments, growing up, this is not the MPP I got to know.
Right. Honorable, I appreciate you joining us this morning for this conversation, and we look forward to having you again, hopefully because there are a lot more we can discuss from private members' motion before the House and some other matters. But I understand you also have to be at a meeting called Clive at 10 a.m. But I appreciate you joining us this morning as always.
The pleasure is all mine. Let me use the opportunity to say good morning to my constituents in Peki, Ikpali, Ikpevetongo. Last week was a momentous occasion in Peki for the Ibiza, and it was the 30th anniversary. It was very wonderful, and I want to commend them for that. I pray that next year it will be bigger. Every year we pray that it's bigger, and that we could churn out a lot of developmental projects as a result of that. Let me also commend all those who sent me birthday well wishes yesterday. they run into this chaotic situation in Parliament, but hey, c'est la vie, like the French would say. That's life. So I thank you for the well wishes, and we pray for long life, health, and more wisdom to be able to carry out our functions in our respective public offices. I thank you for the opportunity.
As always, pleasure. And the Honourable is a good old OMSU as well.
Yes,
so I need to mention. I need to mention that greatly as well. So thank you very much, the Honourable Roxy Nelson Dafiame, for joining us in studio this morning, and a belated birthday to you as well.
Thank you.
From all of us here at 3FM. That's our show for you today. Let me do birthdays quickly.